JFK, Reagan, John Paul II, obviously the Catholics are not generating enough little blonde kids for the messenger of Allah. That's really the bottom line. They have all sorts of various assets to call upon, but in the United Nations, the grand scheme of things, like they just can't compete with the oil profits. If the Irish hadn't invented whiskey, they'd still be slinging Greek fire. That's the bottom line. Islam is not. I know they might argue, but I know that the ostensible kings spoiled, you know, as they may be. They're not really kings. They just have a lot of slaves. Look on the bright side, Ireland. Soon it won't matter if you're crazy. We'll all be slaves of the prophet or the infidel. Persecute or be martyred. Yeah, all that Scotland Yard, all the accomplishments of, well, 600 years of dark ages, but that was Islam. We're here to solve crimes. You're not allowed to read books. You see, planting, robbing, raping, and blaming some little boy until he blows up a cafe because 72 virgins or not, whatever. It's not Catholic. Like, are they pervs? It's not the issue. The issue is the campaign fund selling little blonde kids to flat earth to compete with each other. How did the bar get raised so high? Well, back in the turn of the 20th century, Florida was buying and selling land. It was changing hands a dozen times a day. They would just sell the piece of paper, mark it up, and resell it. And I guess they ended up really putting the screws to Germany, because those dumb Heimies will buy anything. A million Deutschmarks for a Miami beachfront development and end up with a fence in the swamp. Well, Gandhi, turns out, in his autobiography, which is a nonfiction book about oneself, was not Hindu. What does that mean? Well, it means he was a Muslim. And that is why the swastika will forever be the universal symbol for the Holocaust, banana wars. Sigmund Freud was a raging homosexual, cocaine distributor, and fugitive in exile. Why did he have to go into exile? Was it because everybody all of a sudden, the world's greatest psychoanalyst, it's because he sells cocaine? No, they were all on cocaine until some faggot killed a young lady with it. War is not a racket. War is the inevitable result of failure to communicate a difference of opinion. He's called the messenger of Allah because he is not the U.S. Postal Service. That's why they put a computer in every office of government. And when you physically go down to the FBI, like, what's your problem? They look you up and they fold their arms. If it was anything important, Homeland would have called. Trace it directly to the Saudis, humanity's greatest natural enemies, but not these ones. These are the good Muslims. There are two forms of Islam. Okay, forget all that Sharia, Sunni, Shiite, persecute or be martyred, persecute or starve. And guess which plan America is on? They don't just want to turn Hollywood into a desert island. They want to cut Texas right in half and make the oil drillers work for water. The magicians with their curly, pointed-toed gold silk slippers. Because you're all a slave of the prophet or the infidel, and that is the limit of your value. How much you are worth to the prophet. That's why little boys need forgiveness from time to time. Moses said, to lie with a man as thou does with a woman is an abomination. God forgot to, it was on one of the tablets that got broken on the way down. The Philistines, being just contrarian morons, said, oh, he doesn't like that. We can use that. No, you're not even in the arena. First, do no harm, or you're not even a doctor. The word assassin comes from hashashin, meaning hash eater, hash dealer, opium dealer. So the doctor is an assassin. After JFK and Vietnam, America's time had come. Roe versus Wade canceled the Hippocratic Oath and opened the gates to the demons of hell. But if not for Korea, which is a stalemate, that's not, a sovereign geopolitical border. That's a stalemate that has been fomented, cultivated, festered since the 50s. And why? How did we get into that mess? And how did we end up being stuck in it all this time? How could it even be possible for the third world to come here and flat earth us with our own technology, if not for the United Nations, founded expressly for the purpose of preventing World War III badly, because Islam is the religion of peace. They guarantee peace on behalf of God, and then they eventually fail, as all men must. Why is it that these other religions have some kind of hero and they have a pedophile? Because it's not a real religion. It's just a vendetta. It's just an unwashed, heathen, barbarian, peasant vendetta from the desert. Some wizard whipping up a zombie apocalypse to usurp your throne. After the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, certain key fundamental principles of classical, but they took it for granted. First, do no harm. You're not a doctor. You work for a doctor is an artist. Lucifer was the archangel of light, music, and medicine. A doctor requires a patron. Okay, like any other artist. First, do no harm, or I'm doctor enough for the likes of you. Come protect our democracy, United Nations. Geneva, come. Democracy is in peril. Bunch of homos.